Hello, my friends, and I hope you are having a fantastic day. Today, we are going to, cover something that we all knew was going to happen, that the game journalists were denying to begin with, and now have finally come around to accept. And that is that Concord is basically DOA. Now, what's going to be interesting to see is if they actually understand the full reason why, or if they just blame some of the superficial reasons. I mean, from what I've read so far, there's obviously some things that very definitely contributed, but hey, let's go. This is everyone knew this would happen to Concord, and we all did. Concord's open beta had only 2,363 players, far below expectations, and indicating lack of interest in the market. Well, gee, I wonder why. Could it be possibly that no one really wants another hero shooter that looks like shit? Anyway, there are too many games like Concord, and copying them is a path to failure. Also true. Not wrong. Also, making all of your characters absolutely hideous doesn't help. With more trust and agency, devs could make better and more profitable games. That's always true, but beside the point. Last month, following the slew of previews, I ruminated on who exactly Concord was for. Its influences and tone felt dated, and the demographic it was attempting to appeal to have already hitched their hearts and their wallets to other trucks, or in this case, other live service shooter games. Now that the open beta is here, we have our answer. Concord is for nobody. But wait, I thought the appearances and the pronouns were going to drag in all sorts of people because, there is no game that quite looked like Concord, or 2,363 people to be more exact. That is the peak player count during Concord's open beta on Steam. Throne and Liberty, also an open beta at the moment, cleared 58,000. Holy crap. Concord's number is low. Sure, more people will be playing on console, but Throne and Liberty is also on console. Payday 3, a notable recent flop, had 35,000 in its open beta. Oh shit, if Payday 3 was a flop with 35,000, where does that put Concord? Wow. Concord is way below the lowest of expectations, but that doesn't even feel all that surprising. No, especially, we talked about this before, shortly after their closed beta, that they weren't going to have a lot of players. I mean, at the time, the comparisons were between it and a free-to-play open game that was already out, but god damn. The market is too crowded for Concord and has been for years. Not wrong. Contrary to popular belief, game journalists don't hate video games. I'm not happy to see Concord failing, but at the same time, I have to admit I'm not unhappy. If I had to pick a AAA gaming to fail, I'm going to pick the generic online shooter every time. It would be a lie to say I feel nothing for this game. I feel a sliver of contempt. Contempt that Sony, so long built on innovative ideas, boundary-breaking technology, and rich storytelling and experiences, has been reduced to pumping out live service cash cows chasing trends that are already dead. Yet if we say it, we're names. They call us names at that point. Because I'm pretty sure we've been pointing this out, but yeah, okay. It's nothing against Concord personally, but there are like 50 games like it already, and 45 of those games are dead. I mean, do the math. It's like Halo and Destiny is not a selling point. Halo is also like Halo by virtue of being actually Halo, and even it struggled to make its mark in a live service world. As for Destiny, if you want a game like Destiny, you play Destiny. It's also kind of like Overwatch, but just read the Destiny sentence back and swap in Overwatch instead. It's like Mad Libs. Yeah? Yep. Its numbers show that the game isn't going to make it. There's a tendency to look for the positives and highlight what's enjoyable, or fresh off a preview talk about what jolly good fun it was. But we all knew from the moment it was revealed, it wasn't going to make it. Games like this don't make it anymore. The ones that made it are still here, and there's no room for anything else. Now, that's not true. There's always room for something else, but if you're going to make something in this genre, you're going to have to do something new and amazing. You're not, and it has to go beyond just making really weird decisions with your characters, because that's not new and amazing. You are going to have to do something that blows people's minds. And I can't come up with any ideas for it because I am not a first-person shooter player. Thus, I don't know what would appeal to those people. But there's always room for new ideas. That's all I'm saying. Good devs are being wasted on bad ideas no one wants. It's almost like you should let devs make the games they want as opposed to trying to dictate it. But most of these people believe in central planning. The tragedy of all of this is that the devs know this. In this week's letter from the editor-in-chief, subscribe to the Gamers newsletter to get one of those fresh in your inbox every Friday. I said any dev currently working on an upcoming live service game is performing funeral rites with each line of code. The window has closed, and we all know it. The people making it know it. But the people telling the people to make it don't want to, because there is gold at the end of the rainbow for those who find it. Yeah, because they're corporates who don't listen to anything. Concord will not be that game. Beta is not the defining moment of a game, and it could improve, retool, resurrect itself. But that feels impossible if it remains a live service hero shooter. It's less writing off than it is realism. Sony, bluntly, is better than this. And I'd be willing to bet that without the shackles of corporate mandates of battle passes and revenue streams, the team at Firewalk is a lot better than this too. And I won't lie, I saw a glimmer of something that could have been good in that trailer. I saw something that, while I wasn't particularly thrilled with the overall tone of the characters, if it wasn't for the fact that they came out of that and then said, oh, look, hero shooter, I'm like, why? And even throughout the tone of the whole game, when they were explaining what the game is going to be, with these episodic reveals of these storylines behind these characters, nobody plays a hero shooter for those things. Yeah, the game might have a storyline, but they don't play to watch cutscenes. They play to play the game. And nobody really, I mean, cutscenes have their place in gaming, but nobody plays just for the cutscenes. We don't play to get to the cutscenes and then sit in the cutscenes. It's actually one of the reasons I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game, is the cutscenes were always too long for me. We play the game to participate in the story. And if it's not a game where you participate in the story, then you play the game to enjoy the mechanics. Well, you always play the game to enjoy the mechanics. But you know what I'm saying. Game development is hard, and the visuals and individual shooting mechanics of Concord are impressive. We're going to have to agree to disagree on those visuals. In isolation, this seems like a good game. Not really. But it's not meant to be a good game. Quality is not a concern in the worship of the almighty dollar. Oh God, here we go. It is supposed to be a profitable game. Well, let me see here. Here's good news for you. If you make a good game, it's probably profitable. Just saying. A good game and a profitable game are not two different things. And in chasing that, it has doomed itself to failure and indignity. This is a Sony title, so we'll stay in the headlines for a while, even as the cold, hard player count reveals the truth that nobody cares. In the modern gaming industry, there needs to be qualifiers to all of this. Gaming is increasingly becoming a one-strike and you're out business, which is far more frustrating when the game devs are being forced to make things they don't believe in, watch them die, and then get blamed and fired for it while the suits who force them stay in post. And that is why the people who get blamed and fired for it should go start their own little studio and make their own little thing and not work for the large games corporations, because large corporations are always going to do that. That is the entire reason behind decentralizing, and that is one of the major points I feel like games journalists don't understand in terms of what gamers are complaining about, is that we don't want everything under these tiny little umbrellas where somebody other than the game devs get to make the game. That includes involving things like consultancy firms, because a lot of times that consultancy firm is not about what the dev wanted to consult on. It's about the fact that it was mandated to them by the publisher. And why? Basically because they're laundering money to their friends. The whole thing is very nepotistic. Naturally, I hope the team is not laid off as a result of this. If that were to happen, I would be highly sympathetic. But when the devs who made Hi-Fi Rush were laid off, I wasn't sympathetic. I was angry. That That team made a wonderful, original, beloved game, and it was all for naught anyway. With Concord, all I can think is, I hope this is the last time, but I've been thinking that for a while too, and I have to agree on the Hi-Fi Rush thing. Tango Studio made Hi-Fi Rush, which I haven't played, but I've heard a lot of people enjoy, and they made Ghostwire Tokyo, which was a fantastic game. But the problem there is that they were part of Microsoft Studios, and Microsoft Studios has a tendency to buy smaller studios and then close them out. They will let them make a game or two, doesn't matter how good or bad the game does, they close them out, keep the properties, and basically use them as a tax write-off, especially when you consider the huge losses they currently got to be making up with their Activision acquisition. But yeah, the oh my god, the Tango Studio thing breaks my heart. Overall, I'm probably being a little harsh on the lady who wrote this article, just because, well, I guess I'm grumpy. I'm tired of games journalists seeing these things. I'm tired of gamers saying these things before this stuff happens. Games journalists calling gamers names for saying this stuff. And then when it's all over, said and done, they're like, well, everybody knew it was going to happen. Like they hadn't been calling people names for it. Yes, gamers made fun of the appearance of this. They've made a lot of fun of the builds. But let's face it, First Descendant came out and people are playing that. I don't know if it's considered a hero shooter, so that might not be a straight across comparison. You know what? Let's find out. Okay, so the First Descendant is a cooperative third-person shooter. So kind of in the same vein, but not necessarily exactly. Obviously, there are differences, but in the end, part of this is going to be the fact that they wanted to charge money for this game. Now, they were saying there wasn't going to be season passes or anything with it. You basically owned, because you bought the game, you own the game. And all of that, which honestly should have been somewhat of an encouragement for people to get it. But where they really screwed themselves over are the character designs. If they had come in here with amazing character designs, I think they probably would have done okay. Just looking at Helldivers, for example. Character designs obviously very simple. You're all wearing the same suit with the same helmet. No one cares. Don't have to look at you. Big whoop. In this one, if they had gone with really cool male and female character designs instead of whatever they want to call those, then I think it could have done something. But between wanting to charge money, character designs, outright mocking people, and everything else, they set themselves up for failure from the word go. I don't know what marketing consulting firm they're using that's telling them these kinds of games are a good idea, but they need to stop using them. Then again, gaming in general needs to stop using marketing firms, especially in the day and age where you have, to quote a great entrepreneur out there, when you have line of sight directly with your audience, you don't need a marketing firm. People will tell you what they want. All you have to do, when you have the money to sit down and make it, all you have to do is give it to them. It's not that hard. They don't even have to take that much of a risk. Leave the risk to the smaller developers who want to build new and exciting games and then rip them off like you have for generations. Or, well, not generations. Well, video game generations, not people generations, I guess. They make it seem so hard, guys. And then games journalists come in behind them and run defense. And even when they don't, they do. I do appreciate to some degree that this journalist has talked about some of the issues we all saw, and I can understand why maybe they don't address some of the others. Access media is a real thing. I don't have access to shit, so I can say whatever I want. That's a great thing. And even if I did, I'd say whatever the fuck I want, so I'm not good at saying anything but what I think. But yeah, are you surprised at the fall of Concord? Is this a shocking revelation to you? I'm gonna go with no. But let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.